Okay, you've practiced the process of converting percents, decimals, and fractions. Now we're going to throw the curveball in of including word problems and throwing in some superfluous information. So in this video, you are going to, you're going to learn how to identify relevant information. So how to take out of a question what it is you need to find, and how to use a number line to identify percentage changes. So, we're working on 5.2, solving percent problems using a number line. Anytime you want to go to your textbook, there's also instruction in there that might support any learning that you have in the classroom or on video. And remember, as always, if you get stuck on something, you can ask a friend or ask any one of your teachers, and they'll be glad to help you as well. Okay, so first off, our first well, it's not even really a question. It's a statement. But it is asking something. And what it's asking is, well, what is the number, right? So what we have to identify is the number. So we know that the number is going to be higher than 12, and 12 is 75% of that number. So we want to know what the whole number is, so we can identify 2 points on a number line right off the hop. The first point that we can always identify on our number line is 0, okay? 0 on both ends. And I've drawn a 0 on the top and I've drawn a 0 on the bottom because I want you to always use the same organization in your number lines. Okay? We're going to put the percents on the bottom. Okay? So the 75%. We're going to put percents always along the bottom of our number line, and the regular number will just go on the top at 12. Okay, so once we have our zeros in place, for this question, we can put over here at the other end um, the unknown, which is our number, and down here we could have 100%. Now we know that 75% is about 3/4 of the way, so if we wanted to, we could find a halfway point, put 50%, and then halfway between that and that, put a 75%. Once we've got that 75% in, we should also put in our 12 because the 12 identifies. Mrs. Dudley needs to get 222. We can identify what that 75% is because we've been told what it is. So all we really need to do now is find out what 100% or 1% of the 12 is. If we have 75% of a number is 12, then logically, if we were to divide the 12 into 75 little pieces, we would be able to find out what 1% is. Because we have 75 pieces of 100, and that is equal to 12. Because remember, whatever's on the bottom of our number line is equal to the top. So if we go way back over here to our number line, and we find a spot, we'll call it right there, and we call that spot 1%, by dividing that 12 by 75, we end up with 0.16. So that equals 1%. So 1% of 12 out of that 75 is 0.16. The key to understanding this is once you've got 1%, you can find any percent. You can find 240%, you can find 320%, you can find 8%, and for sure, we can find 100%. So what we would do, in order to get this to be 100%, down here, this 1%, we would multiply it by 100. In multiplying it by 100, we would turn that into a 100% of a number, or the number. We do the exact same thing on the top, and we multiply this by 100, we're going to end up with 160. Or 160. That would be a much higher number. We would end up with 16. So that's how you would find the percentage of an unknown number. We'll do another one real quick. This one's a little smaller, but it works on the exact same principle. As always, identify the things you know. You're looking for one whole number. That whole number is an unknown to you right now. You don't know what that is, but you do know that you want to find 100% of it. We identify down here what our zero mark is and our 0%. And then we're going to put our little line right here, which is our 1%, and we're going to try and find that number. We know already that 9% of a number is 45 centimeters, 45. We can divide this into 10 pieces or estimate it somewhere around here as being 9%. As long as you identify what it is you're matching it up with, you're good to go. 9 is 45. Okay, you don't need these measurements in there because we're looking for the number, not the unit at this point. So if we were to find this, we would have to divide, in order to turn our 9 into a 1, we divide it by 9. What we do to the bottom in this instance, we also have to do to the top. So we divide both by 9. When we divide 45 by 9, that equals 5. So 1% is 5. Now it's easy. All we have to do to turn this into 100, again, same thing, multiply by 100. We do the same thing with our 5, multiply it by 100, and we get 500. Now, if we want to test our answer, and this is a little bit of a new part, but if we want to test our answer to find out, we simply take our number that we say is the number, so 500, and multiply it by whatever percent it is that we have as a decimal. So 9% is the same as 0.09. And if you multiply 500 by 0.09, you end up with 45. So that supports that 9% of 500 is actually 45. If you're good to go, you can probably turn it off here and carry on, solve most of the problems that you'll face. I'll do one more here with words, two more here with words, and if you need that, you can come back and check out these as well. So the third one, a mass of 50 grams decreased by 17%. What is the new mass? So we need to find now a decrease. So same as before, we identify our 0 points. 0% and 0. We have 100% here, and we look back to our question to see what we know. We know that a mass of 50 grams decreased, and that's a subtraction, so it goes down by 17%. So the original mass would be the 100, would be our 100% mark. So 100% would be 50 of a number. Now we need to find out what 17% of 50 is. We have to find out what that 17% would be. When we take 17% away from 100%, we end up with 83%. And we'll put 83% right about there. So we're trying to find out what 83% of 50 is. Now, it's really not that challenging to figure this one out because, again, we just have to find out what our 1% is. And if we were to divide our 100 by 1, we would get our 1%. And our 1% of 50, if 50 is divided by 100, we would get 0.5. Once we have 0.5, we know what 1% is. If we want to turn this 1% into an 83%, we multiply by 83. What we did here, we have to match up on the top. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to multiply by 83. And 0.5 times 83 equals 41.5. So if we have 41.5, again, we could conduct our test to see if it's accurate or not. And if it is, then we'd be good to go. So what we have to do to test it, I guess, is essentially we're going to take our number here that we have, 50, which is our original number. We're going to multiply it by the decimal version of our percent, which is 0.83, because it's 8 tens and 3 1,000ths. And when we multiply 50 by 0.83, we get a number of 41.5. So that works. The key to this one is we aren't identifying what 83% is or the decrease or anything. We have to make sure that we put the answer down to what it is it's asking us. It's saying what is the new mass. So in this particular question, the math that's on the screen supports your answer, but your answer would have to be down here on the bottom, the new mass of the object is 41.5, and make sure you have that unit in there. And that's your answer. Pretty simple. One more. No, we did this one already. So we'll call that a day. That's how you use a number line to find a percent. If you're looking for a number higher, you can do the exact same thing, just find that 1% and you should be good to go.